Jalen, it's the Super Bowl Saturday night, the hottest club in whatever city. I forget where the Super Bowl is next year.
New York.
New York. Hottest club in the city. Everyone's trying to get in this city. There's one awesome table. It's got, the VIP room has like tiers, and there's one top table. It's the hottest table.
How many people sitting there?
12.
It's 6 people total. LeBron wants the table, Jay-Z wants the table, and Jordan wants the table. What does the maitre d' do?
Gives it to Jay-Z.
Jay-Z gets the table.
Hometown.
Bill Clinton calls, he wants the table.
Hova has it on lock.
Barack Obama decides he's coming in for the game, he wants the table.
Barack gets the table.
Barack gets the table.
Barack is not at the nightclub in the VIP section on Saturday before the Super Bowl.
This is hypothetical.
Okay.
He's like, this is what makes it so surprising. He's like, I want to take my staff.
When Jay-Z had his issue about traveling to Cuba, who did he mention in his song?
He had Obama on the text.
So you'd rank it Obama 1, Jay-Z 2, who's 3?
Jordan.
Jordan 3.
Yes.
So who's 4?
Because remember, and I love Jordan, the greatest player ever of all time, of his era.
Yeah.
He is the owner of the Charlotte Bobcats currently.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think, let's flip it. Do you think Jay-Z would do a better job of running the Charlotte Bobcats than Michael Jordan?
I think
Harlan
outside would do a better job.
So, John, I have a question for you. The Bobcats are looking for a coach, right? That does not seem like a position that I want. I don't want to work for Michael Jordan. I don't want to be the head coach under Michael Jordan.
How sad is it that we know that Phil Jackson is not even an option?
But now it's...
Oh, well, he doesn't do that. Phil doesn't rebuild.
Would you want to work in the worst restaurant in your neighborhood?
No.
Yeah. Wait, who's number 4?
Of that list?
No, just who's number 4 now on the I can get any table I want during the hottest night.
That was LeBron. He's number 4.
LeBron's number 4.
Yeah, we got Obama, Jay-Z.
It's a drop off from 3 to 4 though.
And LeBron.
So who's 5?
Who's 5?
Jalen.
I'm about to tell you who's number 5.
Music, you can go music, you can go actors. Will Smith,
I'm going to split it between 50 and Diddy.
50? You surprised by that? I thought 50 kind of lost his luster a little bit.
Unpurposely. I think he's got his money, so he's lost his luster. You know what I mean? He's got his money, so he lost his luster.
So Will Smith's not in the top 5.
He doesn't roll like...
Don't get fired.
Okay. No, he's not in the top 5.
Okay. There's no baseball players in the top 5.
No.
No.
There's no football players that we can think of in the top 5. Hockey's out, obviously. Oh, Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods not hanging out with those guys.
So he's not even in the top. He's okay.
No.
4 years ago, he might have been there.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
he would have got the table because he knows the staff at the club.
Who do you think is the all-time would have gotten the table guy?
Magic.
Over Jordan? I would have said
Over
Jordan.
everyone.
I would have said Jordan like 93. You say Magic 80s? 80s Magic.
Over everyone.
Over everyone
all
ever.
time.
All time.
You see, I didn't even hesitate.
All time.
Who's the only person that got a statue at his college and got a professional statue in front of a building? Magic.
That's a great point.
He's been doing this for a long time.
You know what? I went in the SI vault. That Magic was on the cover of SI in like 1990, and the headline was Magic Inc. And it was all about how Magic wanted to be a mogul, and some of the stuff he was doing in the 80s and investments he'd made. And he'd already made like $50 million off the court in 1990, and he's like, I spend time with rich guys, and I pick people's brains. And you read it, and I remember reading in 1990 going, oh, this is cute. Magic thinks he's going to be a billionaire. And everything in that article happened.
And also, don't underestimate the personality of the star player for the Los Angeles Showtime era Lakers, trademark smile, 6'9" point guard, the leader of the team, a face of the NBA, outspoken, no doubt. He has that spot on lock.
Plus the ladies.
don't get fired.
Well, I'm just saying he's talked about it. He did very well.
I like your Bill Clinton play. I'm putting Bill Clinton in there.
The funniest thing about Bill Clinton is everybody says he's like in the room is one of the coolest guys of all time.
The most charismatic people of all time.
He's like one of those, like,
mesmerizing.
just hold on to your wife's arm the entire
That's what
time.
everybody
he's in the room.
says.
Yeah, with an asterisk, he was the first black president.
Is that, I never heard that. I guess he was.
Yeah, we give him that in the urban area.
Yeah. Can we talk about the playoffs now?
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Bill, about the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Clippers are going to play the Thunder.
Yeah.
I really liked watching this Clippers team.
Why do they have games on at the same time?
Everything about it. Just convince me somehow. Please convince me the Clippers can beat the Thunder.
Okay, so
What's the roadmap?
Here's your case in 3 parts. Chris Paul being the best player in the series, which is conceivable.
No, Kevin Durant's the best player in the series.
No, I'm not. I'm saying being the best player in the 7-game series. Just for those 7 games, Chris Paul is the best player.
Yeah.
I'm saying
He plays out.
Hypothetically, if he had a great series.
Do you remember when he did that?
I agree with you. Durant's a better player.
Yeah.
But Chris Paul for 7
they could
games.
win.
Yeah. When he was with the Hornets, he did that to the Lakers.
Chris Paul would have to be the best guy.
Killed the Lakers.
This is a huge part here. The bench. Their bench. I realized this when I was at the Tuesday game because their bench got out of whack. Guys were hurt. They didn't really have. They had this
Rotation was
fighting
weird.
5 guys during the 17-game streak where you're like, wow, they have a really good bench. And the way I would describe it is what they had and what they seem to have gotten back is almost like in pickup basketball. We have 5 guys who are waiting for the next game and they're fresh. You know, and we'll play 3 games.
Yes.
The 4th game we're tired. And then this new team of 5 comes in and they just have energy. And that's kind of what they have with those 5. And they come in and they know, like, we're playing for about 25 minutes of real time, not game time. Just we're now in from 9:25 to 9:50, and we're going to roll, and we're going to try to get to 21 before this other team. And they're really good at it. And then you look at the flip side, Oklahoma City's bench sucks.
Reggie Jackson, Collison.
It's okay. I don't trust them. I shouldn't say they suck. I'm saying last year they had Harden, and they always had like a key guy on the court no matter. They always had
And a
either
scorer for
Westbrook,
the
Durant, or
second
Harden.
team.
You always were in good
He's
hands.
a top 12 player playing on another team.
Right. He was
You're gonna miss that guy.
overqualified. He was overqualified to be the bench guy.
Yes.
So the Clippers, I feel like, could really, you know, their plus minus for those bench versus bench matchups could be huge. And then end of the game, I think Oklahoma City's just really predictable. So those are the 3 things that it's just dribble. You kind of know what they're going to do every time.
People always use that term about a team being predictable at the end of the game. All NBA
think
teams do the
every-
exact same thing.
Give it
at
to
the
your
end of-
best player
Give it
and
to
watch
your
him
best
score.
player. Move as far away from him as possible and allow him to make a play. All teams do that.
I don't think either of these teams are very well coached in the sense of a strategy. Like you saw in that Grizzlies
I think
game.
you overlooked Vinny. I think he's doing a real good job with that team.
The
And you talked about it for a couple of years. It's what you say in the huddle and what they do on the floor sometimes is 2 different things.
You're right. I make this mistake with coaches where every coach does like 10 to 20%. They have weaknesses. And I tend to overrate when it's a weakness of like game management in the 4th quarter and stuff like 4.5 minutes left in game 2. He brings in Billups over Bledsoe. All he had to do was play Bledsoe and take Conley out of the game and they win. Memphis couldn't score unless Conley was scoring for them. He puts Billups in the game. Now you get to put Prince on Billups. Then, you know, it's like,
Why
I just
why
don't
is
get
Billups
stuff.
in the game?
Why?
Is it like
It's out of respect.
because
It's
he's
a
old and
respect thing.
experienced and he's not going to turn the ball
he doesn't
over?
want to bench him.
Like
he
he's not going to
respects him.
score and he's not going to defend anybody.
Because he can make an open shot, spread the floor.
He makes free throws.
And he can make free throws.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you 2 personnel moves that people overlook with the Clippers. Who's really helping the Nets and who's really helping the Knicks? Evans, Kenyon Martin. They finished games last season for the Clippers. Blake and DeAndre have to do a better job of not only making free throws, but especially Blake in defending his position and using his athleticism to do more than dunk. And here's what I mean. I see the spectacular dunk, jump over 5 people, but I want to see that spectacular block. I want to see that 20-rebound game. Reggie Evans has 9 20-rebound games this season. Blake Griffin has 1 in his career.
Jalen doesn't think Blake uses his athleticism for anything other than dunks.
I I think he uses athleticism in his weird spinning post moves. Like those weird,
and
that weird spinning post stuff, it's hard
And what about
to
when
finish.
he tips in the weird spinning post move shot that misses,
he misses,
and he's
and
somehow
then-
back
then
in the
he
rim
tips it
tipping it
back.
in?
Yeah.
I think that's when he uses
All right,
athleticism.
well,
Yeah.
what about helping the helper deflecting the ball or blocking the shot?
Yes, for someone who gets up that high on one end of the floor, you would think that he would get up equally high on the other end of the floor.
What about the quarter where he grabs 10 rebounds? What about the game where he grabs 25 rebounds?
He's a small forward playing power forward. That's a real problem. He's 6'8", and he's
The same size as
jumper.
Kevin Love. And
yeah,
Kevin
but
Love
Love's
was
got
giving us
30 extra pounds.
Yeah.
Kevin Love was giving us 30 and 20 games when he
Right.
played.
I watched the clips.
And Reggie Evans can't jump.
Last 4
Reggie
minutes-
Evans can't dunk.
That's not true.
Yeah, but he's crazy. Nobody wants to touch him. And if you were a great rebounder like Reggie Evans, I would like not shower for a month. I would
think,
stink.
yeah, that comes with it.
I would
yeah.
want everybody to be like, oh God, I got to box that guy out. My arms are gonna
That's
stink.
that mentality.
Wouldn't you do that?
If I was Reggie Evans, I would definitely shower after every game.
No.
I would probably rely on my athleticism, my experience, my knowledge of the game. I would be doing that probably to succeed in the NBA level, not showering. Probably wouldn't be
Stinkiest
my
guy
strategy.
when you played.
Stinkiest
Was there
guy.
anybody who was like legendarily stinky?
No, I hear players talk about that a lot. Like, I've never really been close enough to a guy that felt like he just smelled bad.
We're afraid to box
A lot
him
of
out?
toiletries in the locker room. You've been to the
Yeah.
locker room.
Yeah.
A lot of free toiletries.
I think that's one of the overrated things.
I always heard Iverson stunk, and that was like part of his whole package.
I always heard he peed in the corner in casinos.
Well, that is true.
I played against him a couple of times in
He
the
didn't smell?
playoffs. I didn't notice that. We
I think it's a good strategy.
It's a terrible strategy.
Why?
we swept Philly before out of the playoffs. I think we beat them
That's what caused him not to shower anymore. Wait, we gotta talk about the Clippers though. So last 4 minutes is just Chris going one-on-one and always going right and somehow always getting right, even though everyone knows he's gonna go right, like he did on that last play when Tony Allen
People
was
say
trying to
that
stop
about
him
every
getting right.
NBA player. That he only can go left. Get on Manu Ginobili's left. Get on Chris
Yeah.
Paul's left.
It doesn't matter.
Get on James Harden's left.
They're going the way they want to go.
But
You're
this
not
is why.
stopping them.
But this is why they have enough skill to where if you leaning on my left hand, I'm gonna pop this jumper.
yeah.
You really leaning on my left hand? I could take 1 or 2 dribbles with my opposite hand and get inside.
And also, when you're guarding somebody and you're pushing them left, you're pushing them left, you're pushing them left, and they make you think that they're going to go left, and you end up getting faked out and they go back right anyway. Like they're professional basketball players. They trick you. You know what I mean? That's what they do.
I love that last possession with him and Tony. And Tony playing him
Great,
right.
old great
They're
D.
fouling each other. There's like 4
Yeah.
fouls in the play. Refs smartly
Well,
didn't call him. He
That was
able
the
to get
best
that little-
part of the play.
It was great.
The officials.
It was great.
Yeah.
They let him go.
Yeah. My
great.
favorite part
Chris
of that play,
pushes off.
Crawford had the ball, and he was clearly just looking for Chris Paul. Crawford's man started guarding Chris Paul before he even had it to just steal the ball. And Tony Allen almost had a steal on that. They knew that Crawford was going to Chris Paul.
I also enjoyed in the second half, the Clippers smartly realized, the Grizzlies were like, we're just putting Tony on Crawford. Like, enough of this. And that was it. Crawford wasn't seen again. Tony's like, hey, you're not going to score anymore. Tony is out of his mind with defense lately.
Yeah.
He's like at the apex of Tony Allen-ishness.
I agree. He's the best on-ball wing defender in the league.
So, it was so great, some of those possessions in the last 2 minutes where the crowd's standing and and normally they'll send the second guy at Chris and Tony's like, I got this. And it's just, he's getting down, he's ready. It was just great.
It is. They kept switching on the pick and roll, so it was either Gasol would be in front of Chris.
Right, because they
It's
wanted to get Tony off Chris.
And I like
Yeah.
Gasol, and I think he had an amazing year. Memphis is a very good defensive team. He should not have won Defensive Player.
I
Should've
voted
won.
for him.
Who should have won?
I know that's still a bad vote.
Who should have won?
I voted for him.
What about Tim Duncan?
Plays 30 minutes a game.
Marc Gasol plays 33 minutes a game.
Nah, he was up to like 36, wasn't he?
Tim Duncan was a better defender this year than Marc Gasol. LeBron James was a better defender this year. Tony Allen was a better defender this year than Marc Gasol.
I like everything Gasol. I've seen him in person probably 4 times. I just love what he does. And it's not
That's
just
what
about
it was.
the defense.
I know. We got to
he's
give
like-
him something this year.
He's like game manager. He's big. He's imposing. I think guys are afraid to drive on him.
He's calm.
He's telling everybody what to do. Like that. I voted him first. I voted LeBron second because,
He's going to win MVP.
well, but also LeBron can guard anyone from 5'10" to 6'10".
Is the fact that he's
Doesn't
going to win
matter.
MVP would discourage me from voting for him, even though it's not fair?
He just said it.
Even though it's not fair, the fact that if I was voted for him for MVP, it would discourage me from voting for him.
No, I would have voted for him. I
Defensive
really genuinely thought Gasol was the best defensive player I watched in person this year.
Sometimes what ends up happening also, Jacoby, is when players and teams are having good seasons, you want to reward somebody from that team.
Well, here's the other part. So Memphis overachieved. They traded their best offensive player, Jalen thinks anyway, midway through the year. Their entire identity was defense, and that entire identity stemmed from him.
And Tony
that
Allen.
got them to a 4 and 5 seed. But Tony sometimes would play 20 minutes in a game. And if you removed him from that team, it would have been like a house of cards. So that's why I voted for him. Like, LeBron can take a night off defensively, and Miami can still win if Gasol mails it in. The reality is Noah and Gasol are head-to-head, but Noah missed, what, 15,
missed a bunch of
16
Yeah, he did.
games, something like that. I voted for, I tweeted this yesterday, I voted for Spo for coach.
Good call. They only won 27
and
in
people
a
are like,
row.
Spo, anybody
Yeah.
could coach that team. It's like, no,
No,
that's not
we
true.
saw what happened.
Couldn't be less true.
I'm glad you brought that up. I have to give coaches props here. People forget that basketball is a game of strategy, and you do need somebody to press the right buttons with the right players, like you were just talking about initially with coaching.
Yep.
Some of the best coaches of this era are Phil Jackson and Pat Riley and Greg Popovich. To me, those are the three best since, I would say, the early 80s.
Yeah, I agree.
The players that those guys have coached have not won championships without them. Who are those players? Magic, Kareem, Worthy.
Magic won one without Riley,
He won one before Riley, correct. He did.
with Westhead,
He did.
who then he
But
assassinated.
Duncan,
Shaq won one without him.
Shaq had who as his coaches?
No,
when he
Shaq,
won
Shaq only
championships.
won with Phil.
And
And then
Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Jordan never won without Phil. Scotty never won without Phil. Kobe never won without Phil. Now, it's something to be said when you go win 6 with MJ and then you go win 5 somewhere else.
How did Jalen not say Chuck Daly?
You're a smart career person.
Chuck Daly, big shout Chuck
How did
Daly
he not
also.
say
You're
Chuck
right.
Daly? Come on, man.
Daddy Rich, rest in peace.
Come on,
That's my
man.
guy.
Chuck left one on the table, though. 88.
All right, still the ball underneath the DJ.
No, 87 was DJ. 88 was up 3-2. Isaiah sprained his ankle in Game 6, but it was a cluster F down the stretch in Game 6. Remember Rodman taking the 20-footer in Game 7?
Yeah, on the right wing,
kinda
on a,
fell apart.
An advanced
Yeah.
pass, he jumped. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what is he doing?
But
But-
here's the thing with Spo. First of all, season after the title, which is always like you got weird stuff going on. People want more money. They want more shots. Like, you got to balance egos. Like, he had a Wade LeBron thing that could have potentially. What if Wade decided, all right, I'm ready to get as many shots as him again? Like, he navigated that. He built the whole team around LeBron. He was the first coach who really realized, like, I have this talent. Who can play inside, outside, who's the best passer, one of the best passers in the league, best scorer, best athlete. How do I use him the best way? How do I run everything through him? He figured out how to do that. Defensively, he was really good. And they won 66 games. Like, only 13 teams have ever done that. They won 27 straight. Only 2 teams have ever done that. Like, to me, it's not even a question he's the coach of the year. I don't see how nobody did a better job than that.
I agree. And the other thing to go with Spo is it's easy and it's low-hanging fruit for people to say, oh, that's just Pat Riley running. He's just a puppet for Pat Riley. Pat Riley not coaching during the game. He is.
Yeah. Pat Riley wasn't there shooting with me. We was shooting in the gym. Like, Pat Riley's not watching film that's supposed to watch.
And the other thing he did is define roles. That's the hardest thing for a coach to do besides managing egos. So we're going to get you, Ray Allen. Some nights you may be starting. Some nights you're coming off the bench. Rashard Lewis, sometimes you're in the lineup. Sometimes you're getting the DNP. Birdman, anybody could have had Chris Anderson on their team.
I wish he was a Celtic.
Well, we have to talk about that.
He's incorporated him. He's basically become their second best big man behind Chris Bosh.
Now, on the Jalen Rose podcast, I always say this. When something happens, I say, I want to talk to Jalen about this. Now, Bill and I had that moment. We were walking over here to record this podcast. Kenyon Martin was available all year.
We talked about that.
Why did he end up on the Knicks that late?
When you have a reputation that
I know
not
what
only
Jalen's
do
gonna
you
say, which is why I'm looking at emails.
not only do you play hard, but you beat to a different drum. Saying that lightly.
That's safe to say.
And when you look at Kenyon Martin's appearance, you look at Chris Anderson's appearance, you can clearly tell that they're outgoing.
It's not just appearance with those two, too.
Right.
No, but that was a very diplomatic answer. There was cancer talk about Kenyon after the Clippers playoff thing. Like he didn't get along with the locker room. The coach hated him, and after that experience, the word was out in the street. This guy's a cancer. He's a coach killer, and everybody was like this.
So all 31 other teams are saying, you know what, Kenyon Martin can't help us.
You added a team.
29.
29 other teams.
29. Yeah, but they're going to expand next year. I didn't tell you yet.
So when that's out there, that's hard to overcome because there's a certain age of your career where basically if you're an intangible player, people only appreciate you on a winning team. You wouldn't appreciate either one of those guys on non-playoff teams.
So here's what happened, and this is the part nobody has really mentioned properly. So the Knicks have J.R. Smith and Carmelo and Camby, all of who played with Kenyon. Then they have Kidd.
And J. Kidd.
Kidd and Kenyon made the finals 2 years in a row. So now you have
The New York Nuggets.
33% of the team is in there saying, no, we've played with this guy. We don't know what happened in the Clippers thing, but we know we can. Don't worry, we got this. If we sign him, they sign him to a 10-day. But probably as a favor to those guys, because those guys are like, no, he'll be great for us.
Yeah.
Then Jalen, would you agree with this? They all go with Kenyon. They're like, look, dude, we fought for you. We fought for you to do this. Nobody believed that we should sign you. We're vouching for you. We're on the line for you. You got to come through for us. And he's enough of a competitor that he probably did.
I'm going to take it one step further. That happens before he gets to the locker room, Bill. That happens via text. That happens via phone. That happens, we need to talk tonight.
Yeah, and that's Kidd. I don't think that's the other three guys. I think
we need to talk tonight.
Kidd is one of the 3 or 4 most respected guys, not just right now, but in the last 20 years, like within NBA circles.
And
correct?
also, there's a pride that comes with being a professional that Kenyon's telling himself, I was just finishing games for the Clippers in the playoffs last year. Now I'm out of the league. Maybe I have to do some soul searching. Maybe I have to do some things different.
He's out 40 games.
He's upset by that. He's watching other teams and other bigs play, and he's like, I'm out of the league, not getting my multi-million-dollar check.
Well, remember when they played the Clips?
He took that personal, and
He took it personally, and then afterwards, he took some shots at the Clippers. He's like, they aren't tough enough to win. Like, he went after him, and the reason he did was because they badmouthed him.
Right.
And he knew that within league circles, the word in the street was that he was a cancer in the Clips. So now you have a pissed-off Kenyon Martin, who's actually still an elite defender, who's moving athletically as he has in some time.
He still got a quick
Finishing
jump.
buckets. He's finishing buckets.
And here's the really weird outcome of this. He's actually better for them than Tyson Chandler is right now because Tyson's hurt. And now I want to see from Woodson whether, like, at what point does Tyson Chandler start getting pissed off that he's not finishing these games? Because he hasn't finished 2 games now.
The strength of the Knicks roster has Kenyon playing at the 5 because they could play a little faster. He's able to play pick-and-roll defense later in the shot clock, do late switches a little bit better.
He's a better over-the-rim offensive rebounder, too, because Tyson's just not the same guy.
And so
he's hurt.
And so basically, by their style, he actually fits better than Tyson and Amari.
Yeah.
But Amari has a huge contract, and Tyson was an all-star, and he's a 7-footer. As long as the Knicks aren't playing against a center that's going to pound them inside, Kenyon will be playing as many, if not more minutes than Tyson.
And my dad was like, well, why didn't the Celtics sign Kenyon? I don't think it would have worked with the Celtics. I think it was a specific situation having those 4 guys, and especially Kidd, and all the battles that he fought with Kidd over the years. And I think those guys were brothers in New Jersey, and he wasn't going to let Kidd down. There's nobody on Boston. He doesn't have a relationship with KG or Pierce like that.
But also, there's a different way to run your team. And if you look at the personality that Doc Rivers' teams play with and the personality Mike Woodson's teams play with, Woodson allows his players to be a little more loose, a little more free. He'll live with a couple of bad shots and off-balance jumpers by J.R.
Smith.
He'll deal with the wind it up after he makes it and gets down on one knee, the technical fouls, stuff like that. Like, Doc runs a tighter ship. So that's probably why it wouldn't work. in Boston.
We've taken some head cases in Boston, but the guy they missed out on was Anderson. Because Anderson's had moments. My whole thing is, if I'm looking at somebody who can help my team, if they've done it before, that makes me feel good. Anderson has had moments. He's played in playoff games.
Yeah.
He's affected games, and whatever weird stuff was going on with him had been resolved. The third guy that bugs me is that Patrick Beverley. Because that guy was in Russia. Everybody has scouts over there. He was killing it overseas and in Russia the last couple years. Freaking Daryl, who somehow sniffs these guys out, not only signs this guy, but signed him to this contract where the next 2 seasons are non-guaranteed, but Houston controls them. That guy was better than Jeremy Lin, and he
No
was
question.
a huge upgrade.
No question.
And
He almost
I just
won the
I
game
just
for
did
them.
the spit thing again.
And you made it.
Yeah, I did.
It's yours.
Another GIF. But I loved how feisty he was. I love that he was like a real dick to Westbrook. It made me think that's how to get to Westbrook. I think Westbrook is Westbrook's like this. He's you gotta, if you can move that the right way, you could actually make him snap. I feel like.
Now that puts an interesting frame around Jeremy Lin's career in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I think now Jeremy Lin becomes a tradable commodity this summer. And
I think he's been a tradable commodity this whole time. I think that's why they signed him. It was a good contract that they knew they could trade.
Yes.
And now the bottom line is he's a third guard. He's not a starting guard.
When you lose your starting job during the playoffs,
Yep.
that's never good.
He's not athletically. We've seen it with against Oklahoma City. You saw it with Miami that time last year.
Yeah, couldn't get the ball across half court.
Yeah.
There's an athletic, and that's why he dropped in the draft. He's a really good. He can get to the basket. He's a good offensive player. He's smart, but Oklahoma City was like, we're getting this guy. It was it was ridiculous. They were tag teaming him.
And so also, too, based on a couple of the series that we talked about, I just want to give my quick prediction on a couple.
Oh, yeah, because we got to go soon.
OKC over Houston in 5.
No question. I want to talk about the next round.
Okay, I'm taking the Clippers over Memphis in 6. Denver over Golden State in 6.
I think Clippers goes 5.
Miami wins in 4.
Golden State goes 7.
Give me Nets Bulls.
Nets Bulls.
That's the one that I don't
Nets
know.
in 7.
I'm going to say 6 for that.
Knicks over Celtics in 5. If they're focused,
I'm going to say 4.
4. Yeah.
they could get it done in 5. It's tough to sweep someone. The Celtics aren't getting swept.
I'm going to say it's 4 just because I want to get emails from people saying I didn't
You
believe
want to
him.
reverse? Yeah, you're just reverse jinxing.
Yeah.
You doing the Wilbon. He
I'm
did
gonna
that
say
to the
Celtics
Bulls the
will
other
win
day.
3.
This is the worst Bulls performance I have ever seen in my 40 years watching the team. He named some players that was playing in the 1930s.
Tom Boerwinkle. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was thinking in my head, he just motivating them for game 2.
Quick, as you did before I think you did all the predictions. Pacers sweep?
Oh, Pacers, Indiana, Pacers and Hawks. No, you got to give the A-Town. Kicking it in Atlanta, you got to give that one.
Oh, yeah, because what a special
night
crowd
before.
that is.
No, the night before.
Oh, champagne and campaign.
Yes.
Do the Bucks take it in 6 or 7?
No, the Bucks?
Yeah.
No, they're getting swept.
I have a very crucial point that I'm dying to make. And Jalen's going to steal it tomorrow on television.
Okay.
I always steal some of your points.
Yeah, he does.
I
I
stole
don't
your
care.
power guard
He's
theory.
my dude. I don't care. He can take it. First of all, when they lost David Lee, I was thinking,
Patrick Ewing theory.
well, not only just Ewing theory. There's definitely a little Ewing theory. I don't think they're going to win the title, but you can replace 18 and 10. You can get to 15 and 8. It's not going to crush you. Defensively, he's terrible.
And Landry's very good defensively, and he's physical,
See, a little more
and he
Landry.
rebounds.
Bogut
Here's the
back.
part I didn't expect. I really thought they were going to win in Denver or come close game 2. The Harrison Barnes small ball 4. And listen, I know he's fool's gold. He could have 2 points in game 3. I get it. He's hit or miss. But maybe he's a small ball 4. Maybe he's not a small forward. Maybe that's how you should play him. Maybe playing him at the 4. Now he has to play near the rim. He realizes I can't. I got to work harder.
Works against the Nuggets, doesn't work against the Spurs.
But for this series, it works. And as weird as it sounds, like if they have a really engaged Harrison Barnes like he was in Game 2, I think that gives them a better chance because they're better defensively now.
That was effective. I agree with you. And that's what the Knicks discovered with Melo. If you notice, they're using him at the 4. So there is some merit there. It really worked, though, because Kenneth Faried is hobbled.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he was 100%,
then it's not going to work.
And he's playing
now you need David Lee.
He'll pound Harrison Barnes on the board. Like he wouldn't even want to. Like
it wouldn't happen. There'd be a substitution.
Like you guys play ball, you know this. When somebody plays power forward and somebody plays small forward, there's just a physical mismatch there. And I might say, well, Carmelo Anthony doesn't want to get stuck down low guarding Carlos Boozer, and the average fan would be like, Carlos Boozer, he's nobody. But this guy is a 6'9", 260.
Even if he doesn't get the ball, he still bumps into you 4 times. You know what I mean? Like you still have to stand there and use your energy.
And I got a perfect example for you.
Is it me trying to guard Jacoby in the low post? That's what happens.
Yeah.
Jacoby shoves his ass, he knocks you backwards, then he gets mad when you foul.
What upset Carmelo in the Honey Nut Cheerio game versus the Celtics? He was stuck on KG 3 straight times on the switch. KG never scored on him, but he backed him in. He posted him up strong. He had his knees out, his arms high. He was screaming for the ball, and Melo's like, this dude is bullying me. And he got upset. So there's a physical mismatch that Harrison Barnes, I agree with you, can get away with if Faried is hobbled.
Healthy Faried in round 1. Then round 2, they'd play the Spurs. They could actually get away with playing him small ball 4 in that series too.
They could. But here's the thing. Who plays 4 for the Spurs? Duncan.
No, but I'm saying.
No, yes.
But I'm saying they put the centers on Duncan, and whoever the other guy is, that's who Harrison Barnes. So now if they have Splitter out there, you tell the Spurs, that's fine. We'll guard Harrison Barnes with Splitter. You go to Splitter all you want.
They're going to go to Splitter, and Splitter's
out.
going to score on Harrison Barnes.
I'm fine with that. Knock yourself
It's
out.
be
Go into your
consistent.
4th best player.
You can't do that with Pop on the sideline. It's
You
not
think he'll
happening.
mouse
He will
house
get
it?
pounded.
Yeah.
There's one thing to
there's
get pounded by
they-
6'9" power forward. It's another to get pounded by 7-footer.
If Splitter gets the ball in the post and Harrison Barnes covering, he
Turn
just
around and
goes
bang
over
on
his
him.
left shoulder and just.
Here's what I do if I'm
Scores.
Mark Jackson. I say to him,
He's doing a terrific job with that team.
I think he did it for game 2.
That win gave Mark Jackson a 5-year deal.
Well, I didn't like how he did in game 1. I need to see a couple more games. But I go to Harrison Barnes, dude, this David Lee thing, man, it just sucks for us. But, God, if you could give me everything you have as my small ball 4, we can win this series. It's all up to you. This is in your hands. Harrison Barnes like, yeah.
I had that same
That's your speech? That's your speech?
I had that same exact conversation with Glenn Robinson III this year.
Oh.
Because he's a small forward, but Michigan needed him to play power forward to maximize their lineup. And they were playing in Indiana, and he was guarding Wofford, who's bigger than him, who's stronger than him, who's used to playing around the basket, but he's a stretch 4. And Wofford was pounding him. Glenn played 40 minutes and was 0 for 2. Like, he didn't have a shot against guarding the guy. And the exact conversation you talked about having with Barnes, I had with him after that same game. So there is something there.
Have you gotten over the fact that your coach left Trey Burke out of the game for 14 minutes of the first half of the national title game?
Oh, no. It's just one of those things that coaches get into their theories and they stick with the baseline
It's
of
terrible.
the theory,
It's the
but
worst
don't
theory ever.
judge it by the situation. He's not a power forward. He's not a center. He's the player of the year. It's the national championship game. All brackets going good. Put him back in with 4 minutes to go. Allow both of those guys to play together. He eases himself in the game, and all of a sudden we up 8 or 9 at halftime with our All-American now playing in the second half, as opposed to sitting on the bench.
For
and
an hour.
I stole that from you too.
Yeah. Because that's the thing people forget is you don't play for an hour. It's like you might as well. It's like a new game
when
at
you
that
play
point.
pickup and you lose and you have to sit for 45 minutes, and then when you get back on the court, it's
Yeah,
like
you're sore, your back hurts.
muscles are
These
tense.
college
It's like
kids,
this is
but
the worst.
You got to get his feet wet. And if Trey Burke is the National College Player of the Year, he can figure out how to play 4 minutes without committing a foul.
Yeah.
He ended the game with 3 fouls, and his third foul was a bogus foul on that block.
This drives me nuts because like Doc does this sometimes. Doc has a 2-foul rule in the first half. The guy will just sit forever, and he did it with KG, and the thing is, there are only so many minutes a game. So if you're sacrificing 14 minutes so the guy can play 18 of the 20 in the second half, it's not a good trade. Like, you're better off sacrificing 8 minutes and then hoping the last 6 minutes go well, and then, I don't know. Someday we'll figure this out.
It's one of those decisions that sometimes you should go by the situation in your gut. And my gut tells me he'll find a way to play the entire
We
game.
have to go because it's 1:15.
Yep, we do have to go. What are you guys looking forward to NBA Countdown this weekend?
I'm looking forward to a couple of big games. I mean, we got some huge games on Friday night. We got the Lakers and Spurs. I didn't pick that series. I'm taking Spurs in 5.
That's going to be a sweep. Oh, no, you're right. It will be 5 because the Game 3 will be the game when the Lakers shoot 57 free throws.
When the red phone starts ringing.
Tim Duncan already has 2 fouls.
Right now.
Right now. Yeah.
Joey's already at the arena.
Yeah, that'll go, they'll win one of those. I wouldn't give Dwight 117. I just wouldn't.
That's going to be interesting to see
just
how that
wouldn't.
plays out.
Yeah.
If I'm
He
Dwight,
blocked one shot yesterday, and they're like, look at Dwight Howard, how engaged he is. He one shot, he's walking around like this. Like, settle down, dude.
but if I'm Dwight, I look at the Lakers roster, I look at my free agent opportunities, what would I do? What would you do?
I go to
Stay.
Houston.
He has to.
Really?
Yeah.
These lights spit hot fire. You guys know it.
They were an 8 seed with Kobe.
Right. And he's coming back from an Achilles injury, making $30 million. Steve Nash is going to be 40. He's the only player signed to 14-15. You can't bring him back as your starting point guard. You might as well trade him to Toronto. You know Toronto will take him anytime.
Yep.
I'm trying to get Banyani. I'm trying to mix it up now. I wouldn't mind kind of letting him walk and turning that 117 into 3 or 4 players.
Or you sign and trade, you get Ashik back. You sign and trade Dwight to Houston. You get Ashik back. Then you trade Gasol. Like, you try to rebuild your team for 2000. That would be the smart move, but they won't.
They're not going to do that.
They want stars.
They should have did my Al Horford and Kyle Korver move. It was right there.
It was right there.
Here's what I don't get about, like, well, they need stars and they got to pay Dwight. It sucks to watch him play basketball. Who says, like, oh, great, Dwight Howard's coming to town? It's like, oh, great, I can watch somebody throw jump hooks against the backboard, get
Miss free
15
throws.
rebounds, miss 10 free throws, and there'll be a couple dunks. Like,
Yeah.
I sat courtside for Dwight Howard once, and you were there.
Yeah.
Our only takeaway was how strong he was.
Yeah, I
but-
don't want to cover that guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
the
I wouldn't
second
wanna
the
cover
ball
that
comes
guy.
over half court, he just bumps into you twice.
Right.
It's like,
do, you,
this is
do
terrible.
you remember one play he did? It was like watching a bull in a
No.
china shop. It wasn't fun.
No.
I wouldn't want to watch that 41 times a year for the next 5 years. Like, oh, Dwight Howard, I get to see him miss more jump hooks. I would let him go and refigure it out. And if you're Houston, he's perfect because you have James Harden. Just say, hey, Dwight, just give us 20, 15, and 3.
Yep, run, jump, dunk,
Perfect.
block shots.
Yeah,
When you're not
we'll
making
make you
free throws,
happy.
come sit
We'll
over
put you in
here.
position to succeed.
Bill, I have one quick question before we go.
Yeah.
Imagine I wanted to, like, mail something, you know, and I didn't have a stamp.
You don't know about stamps.com?
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking
It's like
about?
having your own personal post office, Jalen.
What do you mean? Stamps.com?
We have a
Stamps.com.
sponsor?
Yeah,
Get
it's
outta
sponsored.
here.
Stamps.com.
But how does it work?
So you go to stamps.com, you fill out a little thing.
We got a budget?
It's your own personal post office. There's a little microphone on the top of the page.
Then what I do?
You put in BS, you get a little deal. $55 off, I think. You get a scale. It's beautiful.
Are those official U.S. postage?
Stamps.com. It's the same stamp that Dwight Howard put on most of this Lakers season. Stamps.com.
You just print them out of your home computer.
Yeah, your own personal post
All
office.
your mailing and shipping.
Jalen, you're too famous to go to the post office.
Yeah.
Why
People,
would
you
wanna
just
go to
get
the post
mobbed
office?
every
Just
time
go
you
to
leave the house.
Stamps.com.
Stay in the house, use stamp.com.
You got it.
There.
Stamps.com.
And on that note, we're going to end the BS report. / Jalen and Jacoby report. This was fun, fellas.
Yes, indeed.
Jalen,
Good
I'll see you
run.
Friday, Saturday,
Yes,
and
indeed.
Sunday.
Yes, indeed.
Until then.
Please tell us what you think in the comments. We read all of them, even the mean ones. Especially the mean ones. Sad face.